And then you can say that again. This is Damian Macy, and it is Tuesday, November the 3rd of 2015, and I'm at the Marshall Public Library with Melody Strohm. Melody is not a native of Marshall, but she came here and has resided here, and is even now in business with her husband. And I think you'll find that she has an interesting story to tell. And with that, I'll introduce you to Melody Strohm.
And my middle name is Makaraig. I carry that, so I'm actually Mary Melody Makaraig Strohm. Okay. And my children, both of my children, our children, Gary and I have two kids. That's Adrian Strohm and Andre Strohm, and both of them carry my middle name. Okay. So they're baptized as Adrian Makaraig Strohm and Andre Makaraig Strohm, because the culture in the Philippines is we carry our mother's maiden name. That is our middle name. It's usually our mother's last name, which is our middle name. So figure that out. Anyway, it says here, when were you born? I was born in the Philippines in a city called Iloilo City.
Ilo?
I-L-O. Yes. Iloilo City is shaped like a nose. And in our language, Ilong means nose. So the city is like nose city. And, well, since I'm in the Philippines, my parents are from the Philippines. My dad's name is Salvador. And my mother's name is Milicia. And they're both dead now. We are 4. I'm the eldest, and I have two sisters after me and a younger brother. And we're all far apart from each other. Right now, I'm here in the States. My brother is in California. My second sister is the only one left in Cebu, Philippines. That's where we grew up, in Cebu. And my third sister, the third one, is in Australia.
Oh my.
Yes.
You are around the globe.
Yes, we are all around. So I came to the United States 1991. August of 1991. Because Gary has a better memory than I. August 1991. I think we met also in August 1991, and we got married in October 1991. We met in Springfield, Illinois.
Melody, did you go through school in the Philippines then?
Yes, I finished school. I went to high school and college in the University of the Philippines in Cebu. And I came to the United States to work. I had a working visa. And my boss at that time lived in Springfield, Illinois. So that's where I worked for a time. That's where I met Gary. We met at the State Fair at the Ethnic Village. I was working with a friend at the Filipino booth just to help her, and he was working, I think you got this already, he was working at the Vietnamese booth, I think. So anyway, we were introduced, and it was fast. And you want to marry in the United States of America. I told Gary, I said, I never had intentions of getting married here because you Americans are too white for me. That was a joke, you know. You're too white for me. I said, I don't like to get married. I want to work here and then go back to the Philippines. But God had other ideas. So.
Did you ever consider going back to the Philippines?
Oh, that was my purpose. I was going to work here for 3-5 years and go back to the Philippines. That was my plan. But God said, no, I have another plan for you.
Derailed, didn't
Yeah. He said, my plan is this. So I'm here. I'm still here.
Good.
Yeah, I got to go back to the Philippines 3 times during the course.
I was just wondering if you had visited back home. I thought you had.
Yes, I had. I can't even remember the year. And the last time I was there was 2010. That was our gift for Adrian for her graduation gift with Adrian. So both of us went back to the Philippines, and that was the year my mother died too. We were there July, and we were there for a month and something, like a few weeks. And then by October, my mother died. So it was good. It was a good visit. I was able to... she had Alzheimer's. So it was just one-way conversation, but I had peace with her. I talked to her, I hugged her a lot, and I think it was a good visit. The timing was good.
I knew you mentioned your siblings are scattered around the globe, but do you still have some relatives in the Philippines?
Yes, my sister is there. My second sister, she's the one left in the Philippines. She
I mean, do
took
you have
care.
others, cousins, and
Yes,
things
my
like that?
son of the first marriage. I have Chad. His name is Chad, and I'm a grandmother. I have 3 grandchildren.
Okay.
Yeah, Rain, Renee, and CJ. Those are my 3 grandchildren. Chad is my son from the first marriage there.
And they are all in the Philippines?
Yes, they're all in the Philippines. They have visited me one at a time. And my son also has visited me here twice. So, yeah, I'm in contact. So I have my son and his wife and my 3 grandchildren. My sister and her children are there. So, yeah, still, I would still consider.
I know we think of the Philippines as being a land holdings of the United States, or a kind of a, I forget now what the name they use for it. But is it still a different culture than what you see here? I'm sure there
Oh,
must be
no,
a
no,
lot
no,
of,
no. I would say the Philippines is very Americanized.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, very big. And a lot of people have always asked, why do you know how to speak English? I said, if you know your history, we were occupied by the Americans for a long time. So we are, our medium of language is English in school. Our medium in conversations with businessmen, everything is English. So we do know English. It's how we are taught in school. So if you go to the Philippines, you won't have any problem. Not the Philippines, you won't have problem of English. It may sound strange to you, but we do understand English because we were occupied by the Americans. They were the ones who set us free, who gave our independence when the famous MacArthur came to the Philippines and set us free. So because we were occupied by the Japanese.
Yeah.
The Americans came, defeated the Japanese, and then that was the last occupants, the Americans. And then we had our independence, but we do know English language.
Were you taught any other language in school?
Spanish. Spanish was a prerequisite. And we were taught our national language. So Philippines has one national language. It's called Tagalog. And we are taught Tagalog in school because there are like 100 dialects. Cebu has its own dialects. Manila, the capital of the Philippines, has its own dialects. Even islands, we're like 7,000 islands.
Oh, yeah.
So even islands around us have different dialects. So we have to have one common language or dialect. I don't know, I can't even see the difference, which we call Tagalog. So all of us have to learn Tagalog in school so we can have one common language for us to understand each other.
You've kind of answered my next question then. Those dialects from one island to another, do
Different.
they understand?
That's why we have Tagalog.
No, okay.
That is our common language. Oh yeah, I mean, like 2 islands away from us, we're Cebu, there's Bohol. So Bohol, like Bilaran, all those later, they have their dialects, and sometimes if you listen very carefully, you can get it, but most of the time you really can't.
That's what I thought.
You really can't. So we have to have Tagalog, which we learn in school as our common language. So we have a common, a bridge, one common language to understand
What
each
did
other.
you major in school?
Psychology,
Psychology.
which I never got to use here because I'm in the newspaper business. I enjoy psychology, and I majored in abnormal psychology. So, but as I've said, I never really got to use it because when I came here, I worked in a real estate office, and then when I met Gary, then of course we started our newspaper. So, oh well.
Well, you can maybe analyze some of the...
Yeah, my own children. So, our next, if not then okay.
Did you have I'll go back a little bit to the school and the education.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a favorite subject in school?
Oh, I would say I love chemistry, I love English. I hated math. I will tell you what I hate. I hated math, I hated trigo, I hated calculus, I hated physics. The rest, Okay. Anything that has math, especially physics and calculus. I mean, I would stare at the board and say, what in the heck? I can't understand this. But I loved English. I loved English literature. And I did enjoy chemistry. So those were my favorite subjects. And they were taught in English.
Sure.
Yeah.
With your growing up, did you have some hobbies or things that you interested you as a youngster and maybe even carried those forward to today?
Oh, hobbies. I love to read. That was my main one. I love to read and I love to run. I still carry them with me up to this day. I enjoy sports and I enjoy running and I just love to read. So those were my two main ones. I tried knitting and crocheting. That didn't work with me. I tried crafts, but that didn't work with me. I tried cooking. It didn't work with me too. So, but I'm different. Usually Filipinos love to cook. Yeah. Most of my Filipino friends here, there are a few of us here, I mean, they love to cook. So I guess I love to eat, so we're just good to each other. Really, and most of them, and they're surprised why I don't love to cook. You know, they will be so proud of cooking their Filipino dishes, but I'm sorry, that part I can't do.
Do you ever go, I guess, experiment and try
What?
Filipino dishes?
Oh yeah, I do.
I assume you
I do.
probably did, but-
I do. Gary loves certain things that I concoct, but I'll confine it to our house. Let's put it that way. So if they complain, they just don't go out of the house. But I have friends here who love to cook, so
Okay.
yes. And Gary has tried their cooking and he loves it, and so that's fine.
You've got children or had children in school, and comparing to your school, is there a lot of difference in the educational systems, you think?
Truthfully, back home, we are so strict in our grammar, English language. So I was surprised when I came here to the United States that I hear a lot of people whose grammar is terrible. I mean, I hear people say, she don't, he don't, and I would like,
Ouch.
really? Back home, it's called she doesn't, he doesn't. And maybe I'm limited, but I saw that in my children, and I would correct them and their grammar. And I said, maybe it's taken for granted, the grammar here, because you talk in English, and maybe we are more strict at home because it's a foreign language or something. So I don't know. That was the main thing, the grammar. And I see that a lot in here. So you may not want to hear me say that, but that is what I have observed.
From that, then, would you say perhaps Philippine schools are more strict generally than they are here?
Okay.
I'm talking about in discipline and everything.
Okay, this is where most probably it has to be mentioned. See, I was in a private school. I was in a Catholic private school.
Okay.
So I don't know what a public school would be back home. So I cannot say that, but I was in a Catholic private school who were run by nuns and who were very strict. So our grammar was strict, everything was strict. I mean, they gave the best education because, well, it was a private school, I guess. I can't know any otherwise. Here, a public school, I don't know. I really don't know. But the public school here is very good. It could be compared to my private school there. I mean, I think they're taught well, you know, and my children learn, except that just the grammar that I wonder. But other than that, I think they learn well. I think I see that in Adrian, I see that in Andre. They learn their physics, they learn their English, they learn what needs to be learned, or else I would say Adrian wouldn't have survived college in U of I if she was taught differently. But I mean, she did well, and Andre is more sports person, so he goes to school just to go to school because he's not really interested in school, but he has to go to school. So that's well. It's just that. So I can't really say public school there. Who really knows?
As you were growing up, did you have home obligations that you had as far as duties and things in the house?
Yes, yes. We wash dish. I wash dishes a lot. We did wash dishes, and we cleaned the house. We were there because we were 3 girls and a boy. This is me. This may be very important. The difference. When I came here to the United States, and I was tracking up conversations from my workplace, and I just mentioned, I said, back home we have maids, okay? And so, you have maids? Yeah, I said, we have maids. You're that rich? I said, no, we're not rich. So you have maids? No. It took me so long. I mean, why are you here? Why are you working here? Because you have maids, blah, blah. I said, maids, is easy to come by at our house. After a conversation, after so many conversations, I realized where the gap was. Back home, we don't have public aid. Okay? If you don't work, you die. You starve because we have no public aid. Here you have public aid. You work, you don't receive money. So other people don't work because you have public aid. So that's why we can afford housemaids, because they come cheap, because they will work to have money to go to school. They will work for anything to be able to support their family, their mother, their father, their siblings, and they will work in the morning to be able to go to school at night. So having maids is in fact helping them to have money. So it's a common way of life. You work cheap labor and we give you money and then you can eat. Here, it's the other way around. I'll not work so I can have money. And that appalled me. It appalled me, like, no wonder if you have a housemaid here, it's very expensive. You really have to be kind of rich. Because,
you don't have one then, huh?
Pardon me?
You don't have a maid?
I'm the maid. When my children were at home, they were the maids. I mean, everybody worked. Everywhere, but I said that's where the perspective was different, because we don't have public aid at home. When you go to the Philippines, you'll see people who'll buy some meat, put a small table in the corner of the street, make shish kebabs of it, and sell shish kebab just to have money. You have to work, or as I said, you die, because no government is gonna provide for you. That's why when I met further conversations with other people, that's when I will explain to them why we can afford to have maids, is because if we don't help these people to work for us, they'll die. And that's the only way really for them to. That's why now the Americans I buy a t-shirt made in the Philippines, because labor is cheap.
But I'm sure you must, as you indicated, that must have been a tremendous shock to try to adjust to that way of thinking.
For me here, yes, yes. And I said, what? Especially when I have somebody. This one I always remember. I had somebody at work she was a girl co-worker, and she had a boyfriend who one day visited her, and I just happened to I said, what are you doing? We're working. Why ain't working? I said, why you're not working? I won't be receiving my public aid. I said, what? And I was appalled by that. As I said, I was so surprised with that. And here I was talking to an able-bodied man who didn't look sickly to me. So it must be some disability which is very minor, but he gets money for being disabled. Yeah. So that was a great culture shock for me.
It would be.
And so I'm very careful when I say we have maids, because, we don't have public aid. So I have to explain that.
That's interesting, because I had heard that before too, and you really kind of confirmed the thinking of the domestic help, as you call it.
Yeah, domestic help is, a certain way helping them, because some of them also have old parents who can't work anymore, so they have to work to provide. The parents stay at home too. We don't have nursing center there, like Burnside. So parents stay at home with their children, and the children takes care of the family. maybe there are nursing center there which is very, very expensive that only the rich people can afford. But typically, parents stay at home till they grow old and die.
What if they have no children?
What if who have no children? Oh, yeah. Well, maybe brothers and sisters. I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just asking.
Yeah, that's true. Usually Filipinos are closely knitted family, so it may be a brother, it may be an aunt who'll take care of them, or a neighbor somehow, or they die in their houses. Yep.
And you were finishing school then. Did you say, I'm going to go to the United States? Or did some event take along place that kind of brought you here?
Yes. My brother was already here in the United States. He came here first, the one who lives in California. My father was bedridden for 8 years, so my mother and I took care of our father because he was like invalid. He stayed at home where we took care of him. Turn every day. When you're invalid, you have to turn the person every 2 hours so you don't avoid bed sores. So I stayed with my mother. I was separated from my first husband. So I stayed with my mother and we took care of our father for 8 years, who was paralyzed. And then when my father died, my brother told my mom, I'll give you a break. I will pay you to come to the United States. So when everything was settled, my mom came to the United States. And then when my mom was in the United States, she said, Melody, why don't you come over? So I didn't have any plans really. I didn't want to go. No, nothing. States was out of my mind. But she said, just come, visit me. And I said, why not? So, and my mom said that I got to be a friend with somebody who works at Holiday Inn. He was the manager. And they said, we can find work for you. And so I came over and we worked also for my papers to be changed from tourist to working. It was a whole process,
Mm-hmm.
And while the process was going on, I went to the state fair.
And as you say, the rest is history. Right?
Yeah, and the rest is history. So I was just here to visit, because my brother invited my mom and my mom invited me, and that was it.
That's interesting. So you came into the United States directly to Springfield then?
Yeah, Springfield.
Okay.
Because that's where I work, Springfield, Illinois.
Uh-huh.
And because that was where my mom is. Rewind that. No, rewind that. My brother was in California. I landed in California. Okay, this is where I landed in LA, where my mom was. Her friend who owned the hotel had a hotel here in Springfield. Okay, that's where Springfield. So I stayed with my mom for a while in LA, and then she introduced me to this guy whose hotel happened to be here in in Springfield.
Yeah.
So I flew to Springfield, and so there were two offices, the hotel and the real estate. I landed in the real estate. The hotel was too complicated. They needed more paperwork. It was more technical paperwork. So I landed working at the real estate office. So that's it. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I landed in LA and then flew to Springfield. So that's it. Not Springfield right away.
With your stay in Springfield, and then you met this young man, and he thought about bringing you to Marshall. Did you say, that's just too small of a town for me?
No.
Really?
No, I didn't really know it. We met, we got married, and then when we had Adrian, and he said, I really think I want to go back to family, and so we decided to come to West Union, and no. I really didn't think it was a big factor to me. I guess for me, I guess it's because this was where family is. And at that time, I felt lonely. I felt, it was just the two of us. And when we came here, there was mom and dad, brothers, sisters. So it was family for me. And I settled in nicely where
So many
family
times
was.
people that grew up in a large city.
Yeah, in a city.
In a large city, just, oh my goodness, they just can't
Yeah.
adjust to the small town life.
You could say there was an adjustment
Oh, sure.
too, but I was so busy with Adrian. I was busy with the kids, boom, boom, boom. First Adrian, then Andre. I was just busy taking care of them, and I had family. So, if there was an adjustment, I really didn't think it was what a big factor for me. Yeah, I never really. I mean, we were in West Union for a while, and it was being alone. But as I
That's
said,
even
taking
smaller
care,
than
smaller, 300 people, so smaller. But I was just so busy with taking care of the kids. My mom came over too to help me with the kids. Oh, I don't think if I would survive if I didn't have any help. Oh yeah, my mom came over.
Was she your maid?
Yeah, she was my maid. Both of us were maids actually to our children. She enjoyed helping with the kids.
And what year were you married?
1991.
91. Okay.
That was the year I came over too. January. I came January 1991. I met him in August 1991, and then we got married in October 1991. Everything 1991.
That's a very memorable year then.
Yeah, January, then August, then October. And then Adrian was born 1992. So it was just a busy year. Maybe I felt lonely once in a while, but I said the children took up so much of my time. Yeah, taking care. Because back home, we had maids who would help us. But this time here in the United States, it was all me. Exactly. All mine. I wasn't really used to it. The part I guess that I wasn't really used to it is have help. I was very, very thankful my mom came over to help me. I don't know how I would have survived it all by myself. Really, it was hard.
Did you have any background at all in newspaper business or publishing or anything?
The only background I have in newspaper is reading it.
Okay.
None at all. Not at all. We started from scratch.
Well, that's what I thought. But I thought, well, maybe you had some background
Oh,
in publishing.
no. I don't know about Gary. Maybe he had a little inkling, but no. We started from scratch. We started from our bedroom. We had a typewriter that had a mind of its own. You say A, it goes to B, it goes to B, you go Z, and that's how we started. Oh, I don't. That was a story by itself, how we started newspaper.
Well, you can tell it.
From scratch. I don't know. Jerry just one day said, West New needs a newspaper. Like, I would just look at him. He had so many ideas, and I was just busy with my kids. I would used to look at him, tired eyes. And he said, West New needs a newspaper. I said, whatever. It's a newsletter. Like, oh, whatever. It was just like anything. He had so many ideas. Gary's the type of person who was tremendous. I think his brain is nonstop. So whatever. So he would write up something, and we would type it, and we would cut it, and we would lay it in papers, the old-fashioned way, and Joe and Pat McCammon. Yeah, they helped us a little bit in how to start a newspaper, but everything was from scratch. We didn't have, when a typewriter doesn't work, you would handwrite all the ads and all things, and then cut it and lay it on layout paper. Everything was old-fashioned. Cut and paste, really, like kindergarten work. Paste it and then give it to them, and they would type it and then print it. It was just like a 4-page. It started with just a 4-page tabloid-size paper, just as a newsletter.
Okay, so they did the typesetting and printing both for you.
Printing, yeah.
Okay.
So they did that. We did, the manual. We started in a room, and then gradually we were able to buy a very old dinosaur age era old computer, and started with that. And I said we didn't have office, we just typed. For my part, it was different because I would be so tired because I would take care of the kids in the morning and then type everything at night. So there was like no sleep. And then sometimes I remember I would be typing and then our bed was just there and I would put my head on the bed, snooze a little bit, and then stand up again and start typing and then put my head on the bed, and then start typing again. And then, of course,
There were no errors in there either. Was there?
Well, it was computer, so more or less, unless I would be so sleepy, I bet you there were lots of errors. And I was blessed with kids who kind of did not sleep straight at night. So, and, in between 2 hours sleep, and then I'll be with them. I mean, both of them, Adrian and Andre, didn't sleep through the night. It was all mingled.
Well, now, starting out, what about advertisers? Did you
Gary
do
worked-
advertising then?
Oh yeah, that's how we survived because first the paper was free, and we
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it was supported by the ads that we took. So Gary did the ads.
Okay.
He's a very social person, so he went around asking for ads door to door from anywhere just to get ads. He wasn't shy at all. So that's how the paper was supported by the ads that we had. And that's how it was. And then we expanded to Martinsville Gazette. We did the Martinsville Gazette, still a small newspaper. So Western Union, Martinsville, and those were the two papers that we started with. And everything was hazy, just like slowly. And then eventually we moved to, when it was nearing school age for Adrian, we decided to come to Marshall. Yeah, because that would be easier. I didn't want them to go to Hudsonville. I wanted them to go to Marshall.
That's a good choice.
Yeah. So I don't know what part of West Union we were, because I think West Union is divided in certain ways. Yeah, this part goes to Hudsonville and this part goes to Marshall. So I said to be sure we go to Marshall, and then also Pat and Joe were talking of retiring. So it all played. God just played it in such a way. They were talking retiring, and they were thinking of us buying their paper, but at that point we could not buy the paper because we were so poor. We were very, very poor, and so we could not buy their paper or do any contracts. So we just moved here, and I don't know how it happened. You have to ask Gary about how we got to Marshall Advocate. Something in my memory can't. But how did we get into Marshall Advocate? He has to supply that. I don't know how it happened. The transition. I know we
Do you know
started
what
it.
year it was that you acquired the Advocate?
Well, how old is Adrian? What volume are we now? 17, 18, 19 years, 20 years, somewhere. I lost track. Yeah. It will show in the volume of our newspaper. Yeah. Volume what? I can't even remember. Isn't that a shame? I mean, we do the newspapers, I can't even remember what volume we are now.
And I see it twice a week.
Yeah, I know. Gosh. But I
So
can't
have you
even
ever
remember.
thought back and said, my gosh, this isn't the business for me? And said,
Many times.
Why did we ever do this for?
Yes, many times, because it wasn't like, whoa, we have lots of money. No, it was a hard one. It was a very slow climb, and we're not even there yet. But I can only say, to God's grace and a lot of prayers, we persisted in newspaper. I was the one who would say, I'm done. I'm not gonna work anymore here. I'm done with newspaper. But Gary is the one who really persisted. He is the strong one as far as business is concerned. I was just about to I'll just work in Walmart. I would say that. I'll work in Walmart because don't have the problems. You leave the problems. You work for 8 hours and you leave the problem. With newspaper, it's 24/7.
Well, I have
yours.
said this to Gary. To me, the restaurant business and the newspaper business would be two of the most difficult
Yes.
things, of the hours and the lack of
The deadline.
decisions and the deadlines and all.
I know.
How can you do it?
No, so don't come to our office on Monday and Thursdays because everybody is grouchy. I don't work. I don't go. Believe me, after being with Gary and doing all the deadlines, I mean, everybody is grouchy. Everybody is tense. So I really now, after we had good enough help, I don't work Monday and Thursdays, and those are the deadline days because everybody is tense and Gary gets grouchy. And I have worked for him long enough that, oh, believe me, we have shouting matches on deadline days, and so I
You
stay
know
out
the
of
warning
it.
signs. Then,
I know, so I stay out. I don't work Monday and Thursday, except at night. I work at night, Monday night when everybody is gone. So I work Monday night and Thursday nights.
Can you do some of the work at home, or do you have to do it all in the office?
We can work at home from our computer. Send it through the email, and then whoever is here at the office
Pick it up.
post it, lays it out. So, but it's better really actually to do it here at the office because then you are accessible to all the folders. But and it has before we used to cut and paste too. We have this paste, this roller paste, and everything is cut still. But when everything went electronic, it was such a blessing because now we send everything through electronic to the printer, and then it's just one trip, and then we have somebody get the papers back. Before we have to bring it there, the whole layout sheets. Oh, Gary didn't mention that to you? Oh, we have to type everything, cut everything, paste it in layout sheets, and then bring it to the printer, and then go back to get it when the newspaper is done. So, but now it's different. We just send everything electronic, and then they print it, and then we just go get it.
My computer still says cut and paste.
Yeah, I mean when you do.
I know.
Yeah, you do it.
I'm just kidding you because you still do the same thing, but
yeah, but electronic. Yeah, we cut and paste electronic. We copy. Like if you send us an article, we copy it. We place it in our columns. I mean, after all editing, we place it in our columns, and Gretchen, our girl, she just lays it out, and that's it.
Curiously, how do you space things out? In other words, you've got news articles, you've got things that people bring in, you've got advertisements, but yet you've only got so much space. How do you get that worked out to get everything in?
We prioritize what you think is important goes on Tuesday's paper. Usually, it's very easy, like city council, park board, school board, or any accident that has happened. Those usually have priorities. All the ads have to be in because these are paid ads, so that's money. I mean, that's how we survive, especially in KC and Times. I don't know, we do with the KC paper, we do the West Vigo paper, and these are free papers too. So this is only supported by ads. Yep. And for a long time, if you remember, the Advocate paper was free to everybody. And then when we came to such a big red mark, I mean, we could not afford it. I mean, the debt that we had was so big. That's when we decided to go by subscription, because the ads that we could not support the free paper, so we had to go by subscription. So it's only the Advocate which is by subscription, and the two papers that we have are free papers. So, but we still, the money is still one. So, but
Now, Melody, you used to have was it an insert called the Shopper?
Yes,
or
we
that
had
was
the
that was
Shopper.
a separate day came out, didn't it?
yes, it used to be free to everybody
Yeah.
too, but we also have to stop that because we couldn't afford it anymore. Now, just a week ago, Gary decided to have the Shopper back, but by online only, not printed. So the advertisers are happy that they have a free online, their ad is free online for people to see. So that's our Shopper. Our Shopper is now online. But yeah, we did the Shopper for a long time. Because that was something that lured the advertisers, They pay for one ad, but they're exposed twice. Yeah. Free to everybody. So that was our selling card, you would say, to advertisers.
Melody, I guess aggravated sometimes at postal delivery and
Oh, yeah.
everything, and I think most of your stuff all goes out now by postal delivery, doesn't it?
Yes, yes,
I know you've got some boxes around town. and
Yeah.
stuff.
yeah.
What's the postage rate and the
It keeps on
delivery
adding.
doing to you?
Oh, we give them a lot of money for sure.
I'm sure you must.
Yeah. Sometimes they make mistakes. I don't know. Some people don't receive. Most people, when they don't receive their paper, call us right away. But they seem not to know that once it's out of our office, it's their problem, the post office, and
But it still comes back to your telephone call.
yes, they do, and they seem not to understand that, and they vent on us, and we just tell them everybody in Marshall is supposed to receive their paper on the very day. You are supposed to receive it on Tuesdays and Fridays, and that is supposed to be. So I don't know. Sometimes it's the mailman who doesn't deliver it on time. I don't know. Now they have different routes, so I don't know what they do. And sometimes our out of town people also complain. But see, that is how do you call it? It's not first rate. It's a second rate delivery
Yeah.
for out of town. So we have our problems with them.
I'm sure you must, and that's why I was asking that,
Mm-hmm.
because on rare occasions we get our paper on Saturday. Not very often, but at rare occasions.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes the article was about Friday night, or something on Friday night or
Yeah.
Saturday. But by the time you got it, it's already
Yeah, I
gone.
know. But
And that's nothing you can control.
no, because our purpose is everybody, at least everybody in Marshall should have it on Tuesday and Friday. So,
When do you have to have that to the post office?
oh, you see, that's why I work on Monday nights, because Monday is when I put the labels. I'm in charge of the labels. The labels that you see, I do that on Monday night. And it's at their post office at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, of Tuesday. So everybody's supposed to receive that on Tuesday. All papers are already in the post office at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, now this maybe answers another question. Do those newspapers that you deliver to the post office in Marshall stay in Marshall then?
And then we deliver at West Union. And then we deliver at Martinsville. We drop it in the post office itself. Martinsville goes to Martinsville. And then Marshall stays in Marshall. West Union goes in Marshall. So you're supposed to have it on the very day.
Because see, things that you put in the drop box, everything goes to
Champagne.
Champagne, I think.
That's
yeah.
for the out of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, my gosh, if your papers have to go up there and
No,
then
no,
come
no.
back, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. But though
Okay.
normally it does go to Champagne.
Yeah.
But for the newspapers,
Okay.
it's supposed to be delivered. But you do receive it on Tuesdays?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's it. It's supposed to be Tuesday's
Yeah,
paper,
and
Friday is
Friday.
Friday. Now, if you receive it on Saturday, blame it on your mailman. He may not have a good day, or he feels tired on Friday. So it's them.
Yeah.
Because that's not supposed to be.
What volume do you distribute through the boxes? The coin boxes that are out?
How many newspapers?
Yeah.
You know, Gary can answer that, but at least, like like the newspapers you see in IGA, is that
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
mean?
And there's
Yeah.
a box, I think you have one at post office, and isn't there one in front of the Marshall
Restaurant.
Family Restaurant?
Yeah, and there's one I think also in McDonald's. I really don't know. It's Gary who does the count of that. He has the count because he's the one who delivers them like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's Gary. He wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning and he delivers this all over.
I'm not really a morning person, that's why I shake my head.
Me too. I don't sleep till 2 o'clock in the morning. So because I work through the night, but he wakes up 4 o'clock in the morning. He brings all of them to Marshall. He brings them to Martinsville. He brings them to West Union, West York, Hudsonville. Yeah, they're all dropped in their post office. So people in Hudsonville receives it on the very day too. And then he goes to all the whoever IGA where the drop boxes are.
What if you have a 12-inch snow?
Right?
What
He
does
has to do what he has to do.
Gee.
He has to
Oh,
do what
my.
he has to do.
Oh my.
Yeah, really. That's true. I mean, no matter what, he has to do what he has to do. It has to be done. Just like the mail people, I guess, rain or snow.
Rain or
they
snow
do it.
or shine or-
Yeah. No, it has to be done. Well, once in a while, what cannot be delivered this just happened recently. Remember, we have also a problems with our printers. Remember there was one time you didn't receive your paper on the very day. This is the first time it happened in our almost 20 years of newspaper. Our printer printed the Marshall Advocate, but inside, I don't know, don't ask me how it happened. Inside were some pages from our West Vigo Times. So I was about to do labels, and then when I opened the paper, I said, what does Vikings got to do with Marshall? I said, what does Vikings got to do with Marshall? And then I look at the top, and then it said West Vigo Times. I said, oh my gosh, and I opened the rest of the papers. So you know what happened? They printed the Marshall Advocate and the West Vigo Times into one newspaper. And then,
Excuse me.
and so, we can't deliver the papers at all. So I don't know if you just remember, it happened just recently. So the newspaper was delayed one day because we have to send everything back. And they had to print the whole newspaper again. So.
They apparently, though, took the cost of doing that.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
It was their fault.
Oh yeah. And they gave us a big discount too for the paper. No, we didn't.
Where is physically printed?
Only.
Only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Only. It's
Wasn't
called
sure.
Only Daily Mail at Only. So we have 2 people who goes there every Monday afternoon to get the paper. Then I work on them on Monday night. So it's at Only. So that's where it is.
Do they do a lot of other newspapers too?
Yes, they're the Only Daily Mail.
Oh.
So they have a Daily Mail.
Okay.
Yeah. We used to print in Mount Carmel for years, and then
Pretty far down there too.
that would be what, an hour or more?
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, more than an hour. Only is 1 hour and a half.
That's about
Yeah.
right, or maybe a little
So,
more.
but we did ours in Mount Carmel, and then the manager, who was a very good person, died, and when he died, everything just didn't, or the printing quality was bad, and it was just a bad deal, and so somebody said Only did a good job, so we went to Only, and so far, they make still lots of mistake, colors sometimes it's not good, but better than nothing really. We're at the mercy of the printer.
Now, I noticed in the last, I don't know when, but you've been printing things in color, also color
Yes,
pictures.
in colors, yeah.
Is that a difficult thing to do, or is that a printer problem?
It's a printer problem. Because what you see in the computer is perfect. They're the ones who mixes the color. They do the paint, they do the blah blah, and then sometimes when it's too wet, they fold it and you get smears.
Yeah.
So it's them. All the things that you see is that because what we do is computer. So everything looks good and perfect in our computer. Our colors are perfect. But when they mix their paper there in the printer, and then sometimes their margins are not right, so they go there and they go too far to the right, go there. It's frustrating, really.
So if someone sends you a picture or gives you a picture, are there certain parameters that has to be to get sharp picture in the print? Because I know sometimes a photograph will have some fuzzy edges.
Yes,
and not
that's
be-
true.
So
Yeah.
it's going to obviously be fuzzy when it comes out in the paper. But
If it's fuzzy in our computer, well,
I guess what I'm wondering, can you change your
our
sharpen
feature.
any of that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We can do that, and we really do our best. Sometimes it's also the kind of picture. If the picture is fuzzy originally, and we have to work from a real picture. Sometimes people send us copies already, and when it's a copied picture, it doesn't do well. It's not sharp. So it has to be a real photograph, a sharp one in the first place, for us to be able to make a sharp reproduction in the computer, and then it's at the mercy of the printer.
Now, I've got a Hewlett-Packard printer, print black or white or color, and those to me appear just as accurate
good.
as the original picture. But now, is it still a copy? Does that? come out clear for you?
As long as it's sharp, yeah, I think so. When I do my pictures, and as long as the picture is sharp, I don't have a problem when I do my work on it. I don't have the people that we have here are pretty good in doing good, because there are adjustments in the computer that you can do well.
Sure.
Yeah, so I think most of the time it's usually, it's usually the printer. We've been having headaches with them, but it's
How many employees do you have? In your
core. We have Gretchen, we have Dan, we have Sherry, we have Katie. Those are our four. 1, 2, 3. Our four, and then Gary and I. So we're 6.
Okay.
So sales is different. They're outside, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 part-time, part-time writers and part-time people. But the core here, there are 4 of them. Yeah.
So do you have someone, let's say, someone calls up and says, this is going on, could you send someone out?
Yeah.
Is that Gary then?
Usually it's Gary. Usually it's Gary. Sometimes it's Debbie. And whoever is just available. Whoever is just available. And sometimes we just pull somebody at the office, and sometimes it's Dan. Most of the time it's Gary. And there's one lady from Casey. Her name is Debbie. So she's the one who does the city council, the park. So she's the one who does the stories and walks around.
I've seen the name Carolyn Stevens in a lot of articles.
Yes, she does a lot of research. She stays at home and she does a lot of research.
Okay.
She goes out and interviews people. Yeah, she's Carolyn. Do you know her? She's an older lady.
I have met her. I don't recall
educated
exactly.
lady. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she does a lot of research on usually history.
Mm-hmm.
She likes those things.
Had some interesting articles on people.
Yes, she does that. A lot of people like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Once in a while, super. Melody, you filled in a lot of things about the newspaper business and a lot of things locally. Is there some world event somewhere that's really influenced you or given you something, thoughts to think about?
Like, what do you mean? I mean, that's pretty general, like
Well,
in particular.
a big one like World War II, which was a long time ago. So many people mention the Kennedy assassination. Things.
History? No, I'm not a history buff. Not really. If you say world events, I'm more on the current one,
Anything current that's really...
Oh, yeah, very controversial.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a very pro-life person. I'm a very traditional conservative. I'm a conservative, so put it that way. And if you want me to if you want to rile me up and get me, you just mention abortion and gay marriage, and I'm there, because I'm a pro-life person. I'm a traditional marriage person. That's where I stand. So that is the current thing in our world thing that's very close to my heart. So
And it's quite an issue right now, too.
It's quite an issue. It's quite an issue right now because I believe in the sanctity of marriage, and I believe in the sanctity of a child, and you see different nowadays, and so when that is discussed, I get all riled up, and I just have to stay calm and just pray about it. But if somebody asks me and I'm not shy, I tell them where I stand. So that's the one that's the world thing that affects me right now.
And we've got so many modern things, electronics and stuff all around us. Mm-hmm. Is there some item or something in your house or in the business you say, I just couldn't live without that?
Let's talk about cell phones. Both of our kids have the expensive high-tech kind of smartphones, those things. I have the old phone yet. Yep. I love my phone. Yes, I love my old phone. I don't have email on it. I have a tablet though, my kids, but I like my old phone. It's small and it serves the purpose. You call me, I call you, that's it. That's it. I don't need to see my email. I don't need to have data. I don't need to have pictures and take pictures. No, I mean, my computer can take care of that. And I like it that way because then I can control myself. I can stay disciplined. Because if I have one of the high techs, I most probably, but I like this one. And I can say I really have to have my phone because I have two kids. I have Andre in Tennessee, and I have Adrian in U of in Champaign, and I need to have that contact with them anytime, literally anytime. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, anytime. I need to know that I can contact them anytime, and they know that they can get hold of me anytime. See, unlike Gary who doesn't answer his phone. So you can be calling him and I said, what is your phone for? Throw your phone if you're not going to answer me. So anytime I want my kids the assurance that they can contact me anytime, unless I'm in the bathroom or praying or in church, then there's always the text, but I have to have my phone. So maybe I'm slave to my phone, but it's because for no other reason but to have a connection with my children. Other than that, I guess if I don't have any kids, I mean,
You don't need a phone.
I don't need a phone. I guess call me in our we don't have a landline too, but call me in the office or something.
Many people have abandoned their landlines.
Yeah, we don't have landline anymore too because we carry our phones. But that is mine. I mean, you can call me anytime and I will always answer because I don't like not answering people because I don't want them not to answer me. So anytime you want to call me, I'll always answer my phone. Believe me. And that is really it. It's because I want to have a connection with the kids. So, but that's it.
No, this has been a real delight talking to you.
Okay.
Filled in a lot of things of your background.
Oh, we didn't really get to talk about this.
And about the business and all.
Yeah.
There's one question I usually ask everyone when we finish up. Say you go back home and they say, Marshall, Illinois. Where is that or what's that about? What would you tell them about Marshall?
Okay. Well, first, if you want to look at the map, you may not see Marshall in the map. I just tell them, just look for Terre Haute, Indiana, and somewhere there you'll see Marshall. I love Marshall, really. I tell them I like small town. I don't want to be in a big city. I don't want to be in Chicago. I don't want anything big. I love Marshall because it has pros and cons, but usually the advantages, people know each other, that we help each other, and we kind of still can control. This is funny. We can still control goodness. We still have. We still do not. Evil can't really infiltrate us because we're still a small town. That's what I mean to say. And we help each other. And growing up for me, growing up with the kids, I can see where they're at. Be there for them. Be at all their sports. My children mattered because it's a small school, so they matter. They're not statistics. They're just not a number in a big school. They'll get lost. There'll be nobody.
We have a wonderful school system.
Yes, we have a wonderful school system here, and I was able to control where they're at, what they're doing, have a one-on-one with teachers if there's any problem. I mean, it had a controlled atmosphere, and I liked it. Small town, I knew where they were. So I'm looking at most probably in a perspective of a mother. But I like, and then I just like small town. The disadvantage is that when you get in trouble, everybody knows you're in trouble. You fart here, everybody knows that you're farting there. You smell, you're foul or something. But that's small town for you. You just suck it up and live with it.
When you first came to Marshall that first time, was there something that really impressed you, or you said, hey, this looks like a pretty good place? Or just some early memories maybe of Marshall?
In general, it's just nothing in particular, really. Nothing. It's just like I just like being in a small town. I didn't have a big adjustment. I guess I just settled in nicely. I didn't have much problem. I settled in nicely. Family was here. I had friends here. and it just was like like a puzzle. I just dropped nicely in that hole there, in that piece there. Yeah, and my children going to school, it was just nice. And you were there. We walk everything. I mean, you can walk. You don't. I didn't. We just had one car before, and I just did a lot of walking.
You bicycling?
And bike, yeah, and I bike and I walk and it was nice. I think the best one was because of the school. You know, it was just easy.
Well, I want to thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
been a delight visiting with you.
I enjoyed talking too.
Well, thank you, and that's exactly the purpose of this,
Yeah.
as the name implies, oral history.
Okay.
So it's not so much for today or tomorrow, but really for the future. It's going to be
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
for someone to look at, and you can also let your relatives.
I will.
No,
I will.
that they can listen
They
to
can
you.
listen. Do you know when it was going to be done, or when they can?
This will probably be by the end of the week. Will be on the internet.
Oh, really? I thought you have to, this transcribing will take time.
You have to put it in the book
Yeah.
because